food, fun, frolic, and visitors. Tens of thousands of visitors. ITB Berlin is the world's largest tourism trade fair, bringing together a colorful blend of cultures, mingling under one roof. It's an informative and fun-filled gateway for travelers and those in the travel industry. 113,000 trade visitors, nearly 11,000 exhibitors, 187 countries. Yes, ITB Berlin is huge. But what would ITB be without the charm of the Caribbean? What would it be without the assorted delights of the appealing destinations of the Caribbean gathered uninhibited under grey Berlin skies? How would this 160,000 square meters of space burst into life without the energy of the Caribbean? I am Johnson John Rose.
I'm Ben Mee.
And I'm Rakisha St. Louis. Join us on this fascinating journey around the world's largest tourism trade show as the Caribbean takes on the world at ITB Berlin. Amidst economic hard times, with major markets struggling, unemployment still high, and potential visitors having to make tough decisions about what to do with dwindling dollars, tourist boards around the world are seeking to expand their target markets and attract new customers. The Caribbean is no different in this regard, as it reaches out to the 113,000 trade visitors and tens of thousands more Germans who are at ITB Berlin. What makes the Caribbean different, however, is the mystery and magic, the energy and spirit it takes to the ITB. And through the Caribbean Tourism Organization's Caribbean Village, regional tourism marketers reach out to the tens of thousands of potential tourists at the trade fair, teasing them to come visit the beautiful Caribbean shores.
I think it's a great opportunity for the Caribbean, first from the brand point of view, to be associated to a region which is by itself a brand. And secondly, and not less important, is also economic-wise more interesting, because we can share costs in a different way and they can get benefits out of all the communication that the CTO is doing also on their behalf.
We have beautiful countries, we are so beautiful people, and I think that definitely these people here in Europe are looking for new things, new reasons, new people, new traditions to live, new experiences to live. And I think that Caribbean countries can perhaps provide these people the new world.
Take a look around the Caribbean village and you'll see Haiti here, proudly standing shoulder to shoulder with more than 180 other countries, saying in no uncertain terms that despite the devastating earthquake of 2 years ago, there's something there to enjoy, to savor, to fall in love with in this exotic francophone country. Daniel Fouchard, who heads Haiti's Ministry of Tourism, is confident that his country is recovering well and rebuilding in the aftermath of the tragic earthquake.
From what I see, the reconstruction is the matter. After the earthquake, every Haitian thinks about reconstruction. Rebuilding the country, giving the faith to the youth population, creating new schools, new opportunities for the youth of the country, and giving the people the hope, the necessary hope to go further.
For Haiti, going further means taking confident strides, which leads to the escalation of the tourism sector as well as foreign investment.
With this new construction of hotels, we are talking about over $100 million that will be invested in the tourist sector within the next 2 years. So this is a sign of recovery, which is very important. And also new hotels and new big names. You see, after such a tremendous situation that we lived after the earthquake, everybody was focused. And for the Caribbean, Haiti cannot go unnoticed. We have to do something.
While its tourism sector isn't as developed as that of many of its sisters in the CTO, Haiti is thinking big. And considering the big picture, Fouchard says the government is looking to expand the tourism and is making progress in developing the infrastructure needed to capture potential visitors.
There will be another port of cruise ship that we are doing We'll be doing with the help of Venezuela in Jacmel and in around Le Cay area called San Aquino. We will be developing also Gonav Island and Tortuga Island, since we have investors, of renowned investors, well-known investors, who are coming to visit Haiti and who wants to invest in the area.
The twin destination island of Saint Martin and Saint Martin, the French and Dutch island, is sometimes referred to as the Happy Island. This happiness has followed the Director of Tourism for Dutch Saint Martin, Mei Ling Chung, all the way to ITB. She's particularly pleased with the turnout at the Caribbean Village. She meets all the right people here, all in one attractively decorated, truly Caribbean atmosphere. Saint Martin has developed a keen interest in Germany and Scandinavia, and the turnout at the Caribbean Village gives her the opportunity to pique Germans' interest in this warm, vibrant and friendly island, where boredom is forbidden.
The question is always, why should they come to Saint Martin? And of course, the uniqueness. We're Dutch, we're French, and we're very Caribbean. That's what we like to say, and then we explain that to them and tell them also about the surrounding islands, our neighboring islands, where they can visit in a day. So they're looking for adventure, they're looking for activities, they're looking for relaxation, and you can find that all there.
Saint Martin is a bustling and diverse island of only 87 square kilometers and over 120 different nationalities. Sure, it's two destinations with two separate governments, but when it comes to attracting visitors, they work as one happy team.
We are always talking, whichever side of the island is talks about the whole island. You can't sell the island on one side only. There's uniqueness on the northern part, there's uniqueness on the southern part, and when you're there for a week or two, you got to see both. It's the blend of the two that experiences.
While Saint Martin is one island, two destinations, Trinidad and Tobago is one destination, but two islands. And it's one of the most diversely stunning destinations in the Caribbean, with seemingly endless beauty approaching you from virtually every direction, in every shape, form, and, well, figure. Rajiv Shandelia is chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Tourism Development Company, and he says coming to ITB and sharing the Caribbean Village fit nicely into the TDC's plans to promote the country's wide assortment of attractions to European travel seekers.
We are trying to give more of a diversified experience. So instead of traditionally that we have worked this market only for Tobago, we actually moving in a direction that we are encouraging that we can have a twin island stay, that the experience would be more varied, trying to put more on the eco side of Trinidad, and with the leisure aspect of just doing little but lying down on the sand and relaxing in Tobago. At the same time, we are trying to show how much diversity the two islands have, and bringing that to the forefront of the tour operators.
Naturally, the backbone of travel to Trinidad has primarily been Carnival.
I planning to stop in soca and go and live in Grenada. Start to sing some jump songs, eat lambi and drink rum. Every night I lie down in my bed, I tap singing in my head, saying all you, Trini people I say.
After all, it's the greatest show on earth, isn't it? So it's no surprise that the Twin Island Republic uses this aspect of its culture to entice this relatively new market.
The beauty of Trinidad and Tobago is our diversity. Carnival has represented mostly a homecoming for not only the West Indians living abroad, but especially for Trinis and Trinbagonians who have been living away for quite a while, and they use that particular opportunity for homecoming.
Every time I sing my soca song, they want to fight me down. That's why I go stop sing soca and go and live in Grenada and look for a jump girl and start to eat jump fowl. Every night I lie down in my bed, I tap singing in my head, saying all you, Trini people I say. Oh yeah,
Trinidad's sister island, Tobago, has its own unique and appealing culture that makes it stand out. Its pristine and unspoilt beauty tickles the interest of those who seek to escape and lose themselves in a tropical holiday. And the island's Secretary of Tourism, Oswald Williams, is here to tell the world.
Tobago is still pristine. Tobago is still very natural. And we are working hard to, as we seek to develop, to maintain that in a sustainable way.
Well, as the saying goes, donkey has no right in horse race. But there's one race in Tobago where any and everyone has a right and a place. It's a race not experienced anywhere else in the world, where the winners are celebrated and the losers can easily end up in hot water. Seriously.
We now have a spanking new boat racing facility because that's the signature for Buku, and certainly it's part of the signature of Tobago in the international market. It's an event that started many years ago by the villagers, and it just has grown, and it has grown in attractiveness, in popularity, and it is fairly well known now, and it's a big event for us at Easter time.
It's not quite a race against time for St. Lucia, but this windward island of over 165,000 Creole-speaking people is racing to position itself as the ideal destination for Europeans, including Germans. This is why its director for the UK and Europe, Jean-Marc Flambert, is here touting a rise in arrivals from Europe. By joining the Caribbean in taking on the world at ITB, he's confident of a further growth despite the UK's vexing air passenger duty.
We've had a slight growth. We're still calculating the revenue to see whether we've had revenue growth in addition to PAX growth, because revenue at the end of the day is the most important. What we feel is that while the people are still coming, some money they may have spent on island has been taken out of their pockets before departure to pay the APD. So yes, the island will suffer from the overall spend on the destination, but because of the work that has been done in the past, St. Lucia is considered a very attractive proposition, and so people will continue to come. They may just come with a little bit less money in their pockets to spend on island. The feedback we get from the hotels, which is the information we have at hand now, is that they've had modest growth in revenue and growth or stable arrivals.
There's something quite Eastern European about the name Caroline Trubetskoy, but the soul, spirit and sweat of this hotelier lie with St. Lucia. So much so that she's a member of the St. Lucia Tourist Board, and she's come here to share her love of the country with the world. Her one concern is the issue of reliable air transport from this part of Europe.
Airlift continues to be, I think, the most important issue for all of us. Talking about the German market, we're very happy now that Condor has already agreed to come back to St. Lucia for 2012-2013. Our relations, our flight connections out of France have much improved with through airfare now being available from Paris through Martinique to St. Lucia. So this is all important to develop this market further.
It is said that in Curacao, your only worry is how to spend the next day on this colorful, energetic and somewhat mysterious island. For Europeans, it's no worry at all as they continue to enjoy this multicultural ultimate travel experience in the Dutch-speaking CTO member country. It's natural, therefore, that tourism officials in Curacao see ITB as the ultimate setting for interacting with their major clientele.
From Europe, it's going well. In 2011, we closed with a growth of 3-4% from Europe. That has been, it's continuation from what we started in 2001, so we've been growing and growing. But if we look at the individual markets, for example, Germany, we've been growing with 25%, Belgium, nearly 20%. So from the other markets, Holland is obviously our main market, and that's where we grew with 1%. So I think if we continue developing our secondary markets being Germany, Belgium and the Nordics, we will continue this growth path for the coming years.
Often, our views of the various tourism markets are shaped by our environment. Take Blaise Borissi, for example. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Interface Tourism France, the CTO representative in Paris. Blaise has a rather interesting perspective of the impact of the European economy on the French market and what it takes to drive tourism traffic from France to the Caribbean.
The French economy is slowing down, but for the Caribbean, as for many destinations, there is a lot of opportunities. Another element is that this winter, North African, Middle East destinations are still affected in terms of image, so in terms of traffic from France. They are very strong destinations, so it means that French are looking for alternative destination, and that's where the Caribbean island can seize some other opportunities.
Tourism officials in the Turks and Caicos Islands boast that on land or below the water, you'll relax in the unique serenity, hospitality and beauty of the islands. With 40 islands and cays from which to choose, and with temperatures of between 29 and 32 degrees, maybe they have a point. Still, there's slow but steady recovery of the tourism sector in the past 2 years.
And generally, people are not spending as much as they were a couple of years ago. But just having increases in numbers are encouraging in these very difficult times. So we're quite optimistic. We're sure with the increased demand for Turks and Caicos, that will drive the rates up a little as well.
While it's just a hop, skip and a short landing away from the eastern United States, airlift from Europe into this tropical classic and unavoidable relaxation, that is, the Turks and Caicos Islands, remains a challenge to be overcome.
Without airlift, it is challenging to raise the numbers. People don't want to go through a third country or third gateway to get to your destination. So we're going to continue to make noise in the market. We believe with increased demand from consumers, the wholesalers and the tour operators will take a second look at our destination, and I think the same may be true for other countries in the region. If they continue to make noise, obviously you have to be aware of what you can afford and make noise within the confines of your budget, and that is precisely what we're going to do. Take our message to the consumers, and they will help to influence tour operators and wholesalers to look at our destination.
They say that in Jamaica, once you go, you know. So you have to know that for a long time, Jamaica has represented the image of the Caribbean in the minds of those from faraway lands. You'll also have to know that in recent times, other Caribbean countries have extended the panorama of the region. However, Jamaica's tourism minister is here at ITB to say to the world that, indeed, Jamaica is doing all it can to remain the paramount destination for holidaymakers. And yes, it's time to go, so you will know.
Marketing Jamaica is a constantly evolving thing. We have an excellent team in the Jamaica Tourist Board, working with great companies and constantly innovative. Even right now, we started some streetscapes up in New York. I don't know if you saw them, but great idea, and it goes on. We have to be looking how we can be creative, how we can get out into the marketplace to ensure that we can increase our market share at this point in time to keep our numbers up.
To discover Barbados is to discover how to live life. And the Barbados Tourism Authority has faith that Europeans will continue to do just that. So this year, they have come to ITB and placed their faith in a unique method of attracting more Germans and Europeans on a whole.
We have a very strong, what we call 4 pillars. And one of the pillars is a faith-based initiative, which we really started, before, but as a pillar of our marketing initiatives. And that's what this is. It shows, and as you know, Barbados has a very, very strong background as far as the church is concerned. And so we wanted to showcase that as one of the strong pillars, one of the 4 pillars that we're using to market Barbados differently this year.
Of course, as is usually the case, Barbados continues to stage a number of events that appeal to faith-based tourists.
We are very dedicated to having a gospel fest or that type of event each year. And what we've decided that we will do is to do a couple of things. One is to identify the period when we're going to do it, and certainly have it for a week long. And I think that when we're able to do that, then we can come and showcase that as part of what Barbados is.
There are quite a few things that are pleasing about Berliners. For example, according to TheEconomist.com, Berliners like shaking hands when meeting a business partner, and again when saying goodbye. Should you use the German language, they're quick to correct you if you make a mistake. They love their Berliner Weisse, which is a beer with syrup added. And they believe that if you don't look into another person's eyes when clinking glasses, 7 years of bad. Well, let's just say, you may as well stay away from the bedroom for 7 years. But Berliners also tend to be earnest and straightforward. Therefore, when they say they have a keen interest in visiting the Caribbean, you take their word for it. The CTO's Director of Marketing in Europe, Carol Hay, is pleased with the level of interest and happy with the hard work done by the representatives in Germany.
And on behalf of the Caribbean Tourism Organisation, our member countries and all our partners, we really want to say a special thank you to every single member of the media who in some way has shared what the Caribbean has to offer. We truly appreciate it. And one way in which we can show our appreciation is to have these days, afternoons, where we acknowledge the work of the media. So once again, thank you to everyone.
There are some pretty hard-working journalists out there as well, doing all they can to bring the Caribbean closer home to Berliners and Germans on a whole. And so many of them do it so well. The very best among them are rewarded during a brief ceremony here. For example, Michael Marek and Sven Wiener told the story of St. Lucia in a language that's easy to understand. In fact, more than a language, which is what they called their feature, won the award for Best TV and Broadcast.
We just wanted to know what St. Lucia was all about. And we found out so many different interesting things to write about that we actually came back with a lot of impressions and a lot of interesting things. And one of them was the Creole language. So we investigated where the Creole language came from, the way it is tried in St. Lucia to recuperate the heritage of the language plus the culture, the African cultures, all these things. So we investigated all of that, and it was very interesting and very rewarding.
Uta Kesley was searching for the real Cuba and ended up winning for the best story in a daily newspaper.
I have been to Cuba. It was also an organized trip, and we saw Havana, and then we went by bicycle in the center part of Cuba and met a lot of people. And as my profession here at Berlin is doing reportage about people, so I wanted to understand how the people are, how do they live there, and we did lots of interviews, even with the people on the streets, and so it was a very interesting trip for me.
Robert Heidinger went all in, winning the best feature in a magazine category for a story on Belize, while Bjorn Eric Sass went swimming with the pigs of salt in the Bahamas, winning the online category. He called it Floating Bacon. Then there's Christine Hinkoffer, who chose to see Barbados through the eyes of a few lucky couples.
I have not been to Barbados because the prize which has been given to us is for an idea. We did not travel by ourselves, we did not travel as the journalists to Barbados, but we chose from our readers, from thousands of people who wanted to go to Barbados. We said, well, we have the sunshine job for you, who wants the job? It was 1,000 people wanting the job, and we chose 3 couples, and we gave them a job to do in Barbados. One of the couples was supposed to find the best beaches of Barbados. The other couple was supposed to find out where I can go for dinner, what can I eat in Barbados. It was the culinary job. So they went to the rum shop as well as to the 5-star restaurants. and the other couple was responsible for the sightseeing of Barbados. And they came back writing, just like journalists, for it, and we made a big report on 2 pages of our newspaper about Barbados, which was very informative for the other readers of our newspaper.
Strictly speaking, a condor is a very large New World vulture with a bare head and a mainly black plumage, living in the mountainous country and spending much time soaring on massive outstretched wings. That's the Oxford Dictionary definition, and that's the animal. But then, there's the German condor, which was born to fly. And the word flying around is that Condor Airlines is flying high in some Caribbean destinations, spreading its wings quite successfully. So it's little surprise that Condor is a sponsor of this year's media awards.
We love to fly in the Caribbean area, and we hope to continue and even maybe take new destinations in our flight program. We are more westbound than eastbound, and in fact the Caribbean islands is a very important part of our program. In the winter time, Germans love to fly in the Caribbean.
Having acknowledged that the Caribbean is an all-important region in which to soar, Winter sees all sides of benefiting from this sponsorship.
Most of these flights were actually Condor flights, and any PR for the destination is also PR for us as an airline. But I think this is something very important to support writers, journalists in writing about destinations, writing about the Caribbean Sea, about the Caribbean islands. And what's very interesting, it was a great pleasure for me to read and to watch and to hear, listen to all these very important pieces. It was a great fun for me, great fun.
At the end of the day, tourism is the Caribbean's business, and it's certainly a cheerful escape from the mundane for those who find the time to visit the Caribbean attractions here at ITB. And yes, even way out here in Germany, it's clear that for ITB, life needs some energy. Life needs some charm, some mystery, some color. Yes, at ITB Berlin, the Caribbean proudly proclaims through its spellbinding spirit, its compelling appeal, its mesmerizing culture, that life does indeed need the Caribbean. For Rikisha St. Louis and Ben Mead, I am Johnson John Rose saying, until next time, goodbye from Berlin.